Right after the leaked draft overturning the Roe decision was released, Republicans came out and they said, oh, no, hey, we're not going to ban abortion nationwide. No. We're just giving it back to the states. That's it. I mean, Thomas wrote in his, his decision here. We're just sending it back to the people. We're sending it back to the states, so that the people can decide on it. Well, now that Roe is done, turns out Republicans are doing exactly what we said they were going to do. They're entertaining a national abortion ban. Because of course they are. So now before I show you the introduction of one of these new abortion bans, I just want to show you what they said back right after the leaked decision on Roe was released. In fact, here's Senator John Cornyn talking about a national abortion ban. Quote, I don't think it's really an appropriate topic for Congress to be passing a national law on. Okay. All right. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, says this. That wouldn't be my priority out of the gate. Okay. He also said, I think it would be better for states to debate this, allow it to breathe, and for Congress to act where there's national consensus. Now, funny how he mentions this national consensus, because the majority of Americans never wanted Roe overturned in the first place. Poll after poll, you have a 2-to-1 margin for keeping Roe in place. One poll said 54% of Americans said it should be upheld, while only 28% believe it should be overturned. Now, Senator John Barrasso, Wyoming, when asked about the legislation at the federal level, said this, I want to see the states have that opportunity and the authority to do so. Okay. Senator Joni Ernst said, I always believed states should maintain that right, but we will see. No, we will see. Will we see? Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia said this, let's see what happens. I'm not going to get into what ifs. Well, you might have to. Because here is Representative Mike Kelly.
Introduced the Heartbeat Protection Act in the U.S. House of Representatives. This bill would legally prohibit future abortions from being performed if a preborn child's heartbeat can be detected, with the exception for when a mother's life is endangered. It is a science-based, humanity-respecting solution suited to the new landscape in which we find ourselves.
All right, so look, that's Representative Mike Kelly putting up this bill that would, again, prohibit abortions. It's a so-called heartbeat bill. The one exception is to save the life of the mother. The proposed legislation would also require doctors to check for a heartbeat before performing the procedure and would impose criminal penalties on doctors who perform abortions after a so-called heartbeat is detected. Now, Republican Representative Doug Lamota was also one speaking in favor of the bill and said this, quote, as early as 5 weeks in the womb, babies have a heartbeat. Do they, though? Oh, really? Really? No, actually, they don't. So now what's going on here, according to science, is that you have pulsing cells that can be detected in embryos, not through, being able to hear it, but through ultrasound, as early as 6 weeks. That rhythm is not a heartbeat because embryos do not have hearts yet. What is detectable at around 6 weeks is communication between groups of cells that will eventually form into cardiac cells. At 6 weeks, there is no heart, no heartbeat, no viability. There is no sentience there. It is not a fully formed human being. Simple as that. But see, understand what right-wingers do. They have been basically used and deliberately used emotional language to, I guess, literally tug at your heartstrings, which are also a real thing, but okay, in order to get that emotional response from people who are listening, to make people think of a fully formed heart and a fully formed human baby at 6 weeks, and that's just not real. That's just not the reality. The reality is most abortions are performed in those early months of pregnancy where there is no heartbeat, where there is no fetus that is fully formed. Okay? That said, on Wednesday, Republican Representative Fred Keller said at the House Oversight Committee on Dobbs, they simply took abortion and said the states will determine the laws that will cover that within those state borders. Aaron Hawley, senior counsel of conservative Christian legal group Alliance for Defending Freedom, who was married to Josh Hawley, told Keller that Dobbs had corrected a 50-year error and returned to the people and the people's elected representatives. However, at that same session of the committee, Republican Representative Jody Hice said that abortion was a, quote, question of personhood. And there is not an instance that I'm aware of even one giving birth to someone or something other than a person. So, okay, she then went on to say that so if it is a person after birth, it by extension, that person is that person before birth. Now, hold on here. According to that logic, her logic, not my logic, an omelet is a chicken. A pile of lumber is a table, and a cow is a leather shoe. That, again, that's the sort of bizarre thinking that's going on here. But now understand what is going on. Republicans are going to do this once they take over Congress. And by the way, they'll do it. And then if a Republican wins in 2024, you'll have them literally passing an abortion ban. That's it. So on the same day Roe was overturned, Axios reported that House Republicans had already been considering this national ban. And by the way, a national ban has been 50 years in the making. When we have the majority back after the midterms, I expect there to be a larger discussion about where Republicans are unified, and those conversations are still ongoing, said Representative Jim Banks, chair of the Republican Study Committee. Former Vice President Mike Pence also said the court had returned the question of abortion to the states and the people, but went on to say this, that people must not relent until the sanctity of life is restored to the center of American law in every state in the land. So there it is. Republicans absolutely are going to try to ban abortion nationwide. Simple as that. When they tell you what they're going to do, maybe you should believe them.